What's up, guys? Vince Ryder here, and yes, I'm making a top 10 of 2022 in this year of 2023. Yes, it's long overdue. I've been kind of busy in trying to get this prepared. My habits of actually making videos like this, it's non-existent because I usually never make something this edited. But yep, hope you enjoy. And pretty much I edited a couple things here and there. It's not perfect, but then again, what is? Okay? What is in my channel perfect? Hope you enjoyed. Just a little quick disclaimer that some of it is recorded from last year to this year, so there's a little bit back and forth, and there's some stuff that I edited out. So yeah, hope you enjoy that. Other than that, thank you guys for 10K. Let's reach for that 100K. And yeah, this is the top 10. What's up, guys? Vince Ryder here, and welcome to the Webtoon Awards by yours truly, Vince. Sponsored by Vince's Instagram and Discord. Go follow there, and also PayPal. Yeah, I'm about to do a top 10 list, freestyle off the dome, and basically just giving you the quickest kind of top 10s I can do. Because let me tell you, I did not make a list. I did not do anything. I was busy, and I decided, you know what? For this year, for the last days of this year, I might as well make something special for you guys. And that's making a top 10 list freestyle, which is basically me. I mean, I might add something, I might edit it later, but let's see how good I am when it comes down to stuff off scripted, when it comes down to just me giving you my top 10 romance webtoons of this year. So pretty much, yeah, let's just do it. And, starting from 10 to 1, simple as that. There's some honorable mentions, and there's some stuff that is not in the list. I can't put every single romance webtoon in this particular video because there's just so many, and pretty much some of them I did not read. But I'm going to try my best to give you an authentic top 10 list of stuff that I read and stuff that is so good to me. And pretty much, let's start off with our honorable mentions. First off is in the fantasy realm, because I think I put these in certain genres. For fantasy is stuff that is not really romance, but it's stuff that is centered around that universe. First off is My Gently Raised Beast, a webtoon that I unfortunately, deleted off my channel because it got me copyright strike, mass strike. And that's the one thing in this particular year is that it's the second time I got terminated. So I pretty much can't put it. I might as well put it in Patreon or somewhere. But yeah, My Gently Raised Beast was a good time, and I'm really gonna miss it. Every time I come back, it always feels magical. It always feels like something that is within the webtoon that really sparks a new world and atmosphere surrounding fantasy and surrounding the characters, and also stuff that even though I don't remember, I immediately remember because of the extreme events and also what goes down within this webtoon, how it doesn't shy away, and how the love circle is just continuing to actually come in full wraps, and I'm curious about the final season, but I don't have any will to, because basically I can't read it because of copyright reasons, obviously. But I really enjoyed it. I like what it brings to the table when it comes down to fantasy and romance, and also its storyline. Other than that, moving on is also another honorable mention is My Derelict Lover, which is another something that is sort of a little bit more advanced compared to My Gently Raised Beast, but this one is a very interesting one. I like how it centers, and also how it's like a isekai in a ways of the main character falling in love with this one person that is tried to kill themselves, but failed to because he's there just to save him. It's that kind of love. It also goes into some funny expected tropes within this one. But other than that, I enjoyed it, and I know you guys enjoyed it. I enjoyed actually reading it. It really helped me with my sense of reading when it comes down to longer paced fantasies, because a lot of fantasies are always very long dialogues and stuff like that. So I enjoyed it. And yeah, next up is Lady Night. Lady Night, honorable mention, is, pretty much for this third honorable mention, is a webtoon that is just very Western in its fields, but also centers around, Spain of its origins, and also how it's very fairy tale like, and how the characters, and it sort of reminds me of some of those other shows or other movies, the trope of just one girl, like a fish out of water situation. But in this sense, when it comes down to gender, one girl in an old boys school, with these old boys having different powers and magic. And also, I guarantee, there was going to be some romance centered around this, and how deep it really goes, and how dark it goes, how magical, and how the fairy tales surrounding these characters in this school is beyond magical. I kind of felt the same magicalness when it comes down to Little Witch Academia, and it really sort of reminds me of that. And also the same magical sense, if I gotta be honest, Shrek. Yeah, Little Witch Academia and Shrek, it kind of reminds me of that centered kind of like, fantasy when it goes around, this particular webtoon. And I really enjoyed it. I wish it was, towards the ending that I was actually going to see, but I'm still far from it, because when it comes to fantasies, they're a bit long. Next up is, Realta. Realta is another honorable mention that I enjoyed. I couldn't read it. It wasn't really my cup of tea because of the pronouns thing, and I'm just like, are you serious? This way it's showing? Seriously? I just can't imagine having Gandalf in a Lord of the Rings show. I mean, I bet this happened, in today's media, where they might actually have like a Gandalf version where he introduces pronouns and then his name. I am Gandalf. My pronouns are he and him. Like, that's not what fantasy should be. What is that? But no, other than that, I was anticipating to read Realta. I heard about it, I saw it around Twitter, and I enjoyed it. I really did. I had one of the best moments of reading it when it comes down to these videos that I made. And I guess that's the only last time, because it didn't really do numbers for my channel. And also, I wasn't interested much like later on the story when it comes down to this, what it really stands for. I just don't like the identity politics and all that. But other than that, I did enjoy Realta. I did have a good time. There were some emotions that I felt from it. And I do recommend reading it if the whole pronouns didn't bother you compared to me. And also, last but not least, Suda Armor. Suda Armor had their finale or mid-season finale, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed, what it brings. It's not a lot, but it actually brings a lot to the table of, really putting the characters in the place in a vulnerable state, and also what it drives for many of the characters moving on. And, out when we get another mid-season to really complete the season, basically. The whole mid-season finale just doesn't really make sense to me, because like mid-season, you might as well call it season finale. Like, it's okay. Just don't call it mid-season, that's confusing. But I can understand why. Because this is a very mid-season-ish kind of finale. I'm not going to spoil it, but I really enjoyed how, stories, and also Lucia, and also like, Kirsta in ways, like how it all, wraps around of how they are as sisters and how they are as a character, especially the backstory of Lucia, and also a bit more of like Norix in a ways. Like, I really enjoyed how all of this is coming together, and also the understanding of how all of these characters really have a more deeper meaning of them compared to what's outside of them. But other than that, yeah, that's my honorable mentions of the fantasy. Moving on, I might as well move to the honorable mentions when it comes down to main webtoons that I had, especially ones that are from last year. One of them is Nice to Meet You. I really enjoyed the finale of it. It was enjoyable. Next is Boyfriends, because why not? Of course, Boyfriend's got to be in. I'm sorry. Listen, I really don't want to say this, but here's the thing: Boyfriends is amazing. Like, it's the webtoon of this channel. It's what made this channel in the first place. It's basically the heart and soul, and it's one of my favorite webtoons of basically all times, because of what it has and what it inspired me to do. But at the same time, it wouldn't be fair, because that would be just too damn predictable. Let's be honest. Boyfriends is number one and always will be. Next honorable mention is Heartstopper. I think I pretty much put that in some lists around here, because the thing is that Heartstopper, it already ended like a couple years ago, so it wouldn't make sense to put that in the 2022 list. Next up is Down to Earth, Again, that's from another year, so. But I did like how it all puts, together with new characters, with new builds to the actual story itself, and new story behind Zodia, and also behind Zeta and Cade as, characters themselves. And also the fact that I'm friends with, Pookie and Dustin, the creators of Down to Earth. So I gotta give them a shout out. But yeah, honorable mention Down to Earth. Anti-Stalker, that deserves an honorable mention, as it was released like, a few years ago. It wouldn't make sense to actually put in this list. But I really truly enjoyed Anti-Stalker. Where it ends and what it has to have, builds and everything. Like, man, it was truly, something that I enjoyed and I actually like so far. Pretty much it's not the craziest ending, but to me, you know what? I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed Anti-Stalker. It was emotional. I never cried that before when it comes down to a webtoon, but for this one, man, let me tell you, my emotions were going places. They were going places. And man, they went there. Because Anti-Stalker with the series finale, that was emotional. That was emotional right there. Next is Six Sense Kiss, another one for the books that is actually honorable mention that I put in the list and some years ago. But other than that, yeah, I pretty much, those are my lists, my honorable mentions right there. Let's get into the top 10. Okay, so my first for the top 10 is going to be a particular webtoon that, is just not active at all. But God, I've been wishing, I've been hoping. And this is why this is in the number 10 spot. Because if there was series by series every week, let me tell you, I would actually put it at number 2. This is My Husband. What? You have a husband, Vince? No. I was talking about a particular webtoon called My Husband. Whenever I saw the visuals, the characters, it just looks dreamy. It looks beautiful. But there's just something about it. And there's just something chill, especially like, it's almost like a dream I'm seeing. I'm just like, I want more. I really want more of this. It has been the most anticipated kind of webtoon out there because I've been looking back and forth, hoping that there will be more with this indie webtoon from this creator that is just not active because I guess she's busy with school or something. But man, have I wish. My Husband is basically about these, two childhood friends that are now married and now go to college. And they're two beautiful boys that are just like growing up and just being adults and doing their thing. It's a whole story of something. It started off nice, but I've been waiting. I've been missing. And yeah, that's what it's been my number 10 is because it's just been the most anticipated. For the number 9 spot is To the Stars and Back. I love Boshan and also Kang Dae's chemistry, especially how Kang Dae's slowly really growing within Boshan of who he is. And just to see that relationship, just to see two different personalities from, in this particular series, you see that Kang Dae really found something. And it's not every day that you see a webtoon that is like that. There's just something chill and beautiful about this particular BL that I enjoyed so much of what it gives, and especially seeing the other characters and what it has, I really truly had a good time reading To the Stars and Back. And it's just something that, I'm hoping to see more in the future, especially how I'm still so somewhere in the middle of these episodes. You see how these characters are tested within there, especially Kang Dae, of how much he really cares about Boshan and how, he sort of hides it, but it slowly comes out. That anticipation really, really is something that I dig. Number 8 right here is a GL, and pretty much there's not a lot of GLs that I ever put in some of these in this order, but it is Night Owls in the Summer Skies, a particular webtoon that I really enjoyed reading because it just gives me that, I just love campy vibes whenever I have it. I don't know, it's just that coziness that from this particular, I keep saying particular, I don't know why I keep saying that, but this webtoon just give me those warmth, stories, those elements, and pretty much reminds me a lot of like Camp or Laszlo, or if anyone's old enough to remember that. But yeah, this is one of them that, is like almost an adventure. Like just, it reminds me of Camp. It reminds me of Psychonauts because of the camping elements, I guess. And I really enjoy like this GL. It's actually the prettiest, and it's mostly centered around this, teenage girl that is falling in love with this other, I guess, teenager, I believe, that is like running this camp. And you see the other characters, you see all, everyone that is played, and it's pretty much placed in a way where it's like in real life. And also it's just, I don't know, there's some cultural stuff that really centers it different from the other GLs that I've seen. And overall, it's just chill. I just like me a good old chill webtoon that I can read, that's easy to read, because a lot of these webtoons that, I really enjoy reading, they're pretty short. And when they're short and sweet, they're short enough to actually give me a good enough reaction to not ever make it satire, just to have it, to make it short because of how long they are. But they're short enough to actually give me, just to have the moments a little bit, more well paced whenever I read these, but these webtoons. Next is number 7, Eternal Nocturnal. This one is just an overall dreamy, romantic webtoon that is just, from what I've seen, especially how it's about, Eve and Day and how they really come together as, the the ones that they didn't know they were gonna be in love, but now they really find themselves because of the actions and the characters, and how the dreams of Eve sort of centers around what she feels and also her mental health. Like, kind of gives me a good visual of what the character, making more character compelling, especially for Day, and understanding his brother, and also understanding like his power of like just giving me this Spider-Man vibe of like how he's like the dream eater or the dream or the soul eater or something like that, but he eats dreams, and also like he goes around, finds this one girl named Eve, and just slowly becomes, it's one of those stories where it's like a dreamy, very like compelling and beautiful orchestrated way of telling this romantic style of story, especially in this current age, how it centers in, and also how can it, especially the elements of like YA through that particular webtoon, really gives me a good visual of like how this one deserves to be on the list. Next is the number 6 spot, and that is Maybe Meant to Be. Just like Act Like You Love Me or Nice to Meet You, this one sort of gives me that vibe that, yeah, it's definitely a manhwa, but it's one that is epic. There's moments of it that is just hilarious. There's ones that I just had so much fun reacting to it. Just, understanding Minchul and Jiahan and the rest of the characters, but because it's not only talking about Jiahan and Minchul, it's also talking about some other characters, especially, the families and also the friends. It sort of really shares in different other parallels, except, pretty much it goes into those parallels a little bit more compared to other webtoons that I've seen, because other webtoons that is kind of this style of romance is very, it centers the main characters, which is, it makes sense. But then we go to other characters, it kind of is like, side quests from each and every angle that it has for this webtoon that I really enjoy. And when it plays those parts, I notice it and I'm like, yo, I really kind of respect that. I respect the direction they're going for Maybe Meant to Be. And I can see why many people really want me to react to this, because there's moments where, especially Mitchell's character and Jiahan herself really plays, Jiahan is like this, badass kind of like, like that just questions like if she should be with Mitchell. And Mitchell is this guy that is very focused, like very stoic and muscly, and also just like focuses on like how he works out and better himself and stuff like that. And you see Jia being the polar opposite, and to them really mixing in with each other, it brings out some funny moments that I really enjoy from this romance. And that's why I put it in this number 6 spot. Next is the number 5 spot right here, and it's a BL, but I also question if it is or isn't, because a lot of times, in the first episodes, I was questioning. I was like, is it or is it not? And it's called Daybreak. It's one of those webtoons where it's short and sweet, but man, did I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the crap out of like, Daybreak, just the animation, just the wording, and especially how, beautiful the characters can act, and also how they're, reactioning with each other, and how it just blends it throughout the story. Like, I really enjoy so much of Daybreak. And I see bits and pieces from Twitter, but seeing it in full webtoon, in a full display, and a full work that, that the creators really made, it's just, a ride. It's a delicious ride of just having fun whenever I read this webtoon, especially with the titles and also with the memes I put in. I just find myself really making any moment in Daybreak a TikTok moment. I just make all those moments just fun, and just, just having a good time whenever I actually see these characters, because there are a lot of good times, especially how colorful they are and how much their, dialogue really just hits when it comes to just how they act sometimes. I really enjoy Cog and Marcus, for the most part of this Daybreak, because it's about them. Maybe you see some other characters here and there, but I see a lot of like, it's a lot for me when I see this webtoon. I just relate to it so much. There's just something about it that I just really dig, and I pretty much put a lot of my elements into these reads that I just end up. I couldn't help but have fun whenever I read Daybreak. Other than that, next one for the number 4 spot is Nevermore. Nevermore is a very like Tim Burtonish, lovish, Lovecrafty-ish kind of webtoon that I like. And one thing about this GL, it's a GL, but it's a supernatural. It really fits into the catalog of different GLs that I read. But for this one, it's just beautiful. It's just divine. It's creepy. It's supernatural. It's the perfect like mix of all of that. It kind of really gives me that Miranda vibes or like the night before Christmas. It gives me those vibes as well when it comes down to reading this webtoon. There's some horror elements, there's some paranormal references about like orbs and ghosts and phantoms and also paralysis and also phobias. And even though it's not that scary much for the most part, it is compelling with its romance with its characters of Lenore and Annabelle. And pretty much I really love these characters from this GL, and we see a bit of more of the other characters of who they are, like Duke, Morella, Pluto, and you see the other ones, especially the two twins that runs the school and the understanding of the merits and the politics of the school itself. I love the balance and what it gives for this webtoon because it is something that I really haven't seen at all for a long time. But when I read this, it's like something that is just so underrated and feels like this deserves more. I really want like an anime or this channel itself was made for people to blush. And for Boy Girlfriend really does that. Summer Boo does that. Nevermore does that. You know, all these romances, their purpose, at least my purpose, to bring you, if I can, is not to only make you laugh or to actually share you a decent, compelling story in my reaction, but it's also just to give you a perspective, like, you know, how I felt when I see it. What it's like to feel in love when you actually read these particular webtoons. And for Boy Girlfriend, it really does fill in that void. And I really enjoyed so much of, like, you know, what the creator has done for this, you know, and it's just something that I'm always coming back for more. You know, at the end of the day, that's always what I want, is actually just to be blushed by Boy Girlfriend's magic, you know. And I really am happy that I read all the series too, and I don't know what changes it's gonna make, because I feel like for many popular webtoons, BLs of, you know, popular webtoons in general, especially like Olympus Lore or boyfriends in the sense, there's always got to be different changes to it just to make it 10 times better, and I understand it. I respect that. But, you know, I really wanted to be back on my channel, you know, because it's something that I actually always want to actually see it for myself, to react to it and just somewhat be a part of it. I don't know. But other than that, thank you guys, you know, for watching. Those are my top 10s. My number one, of course, you know, is Boy Girlfriend. And it's always going to be there. But Boyfriends is always number one. That's for sure. Other than that, I'll see you when I see ya. And thank you guys for watching. This is, you know, Happy New Year's. And thank you guys for 10,000 subscribers. Thank you so much. One love, because we only have one love. Peace.